Many of the important materials that we rely on for our everyday lives can be surprisingly difficult to acquire for thousands of years. Humans have been digging deep into the ground in search of resources, and as technology has improved, it's now possible to mine for these resources on a much larger scale than ever before. Join me for today's video as we take a look at the top 5 biggest mines on Earth.
Number 5.
Found near Indonesia's tallest mountain in the Mimika Regency of Papua, the Grossberg Mine boasts one of the largest gold and copper reserves of any known site on the planet. The potential of the place was first detailed in a report from a Dutch geologist in 1939 who noted the presence of some strange black rocks with green colouring. This eventually led to the development of the mine that opened in 1972. On site, there's a large open pit mine that measures 1 mile or 2 kilometres wide at the surface. There's also an underground mine too. It's estimated that there's 15.1 million tonnes of copper, 884 tonnes of gold and more than 4,000 tonnes of silver still in the rock, and at the rate this mine is operating, it'll still be removing these valuable materials for at least another 20 years. It's such an important place for the Indonesian economy that it has almost 20,000 employees, its own dedicated roads and pipes to transport the copper, gold and silver, as well as its own state-sponsored security force to ensure it isn't sabotaged. The risk of this at Grossberg is much higher than many other mines though, because of the sheer impact it's had on the local environment, and the fact that locals haven't benefited much from the proceeds means that there are regular attempts to interfere with the production at this mine.
Number 4.
The Arapa mine in Botswana may be the largest diamond mine in the world in terms of sheer size, but the country also has another one which is located in the south central region and holds the record for being the richest diamond mine on the planet. Known as the Tunetank mine, it's an open pit that's positioned directly above where 3 kimberlite pipes meet near the surface and covers an area of approximately 130 acres. With around 2,100 employees, the mine produces almost 10 million tonnes of ore per year, along with 40 million tonnes of waste rock, and because of the high ratio of diamonds, about 1.25 carats per tonne, the mine retrieves an average of 11 million carats per year, a rate that is expected to continue for at least 2 decades. As the mine was only developed relatively recently, the owners were able to meticulously plan on how it would be dug, and this means it's a remarkably safe operation, having won numerous international awards for its design. Essentially, it's made up of a series of concentric circles that dig deeper and deeper into the deposit, and the main pit is surrounded by support roads and structures that allow the rock to be processed and transported away far more efficiently than is possible at older mines.
Number 3.
The Chuki Kamata mine in Chile, which is known as Chuki for short, is in the northern region of the country, around 770 miles or 1,200 kilometers from the north of Santiago. It's in a mountainous region at an elevation of 9,300 feet, or about 2,800 meters above sea level, and is the largest open pit copper mine in the world when measured by the amount of material that has so far been excavated. People have been sourcing copper from the region for many centuries, with evidence of ancient works found across the site. But it was in the early 1900s that things stepped up a gear with the development of the first large-scale mine, and in the mid-20th century with the construction of flotation and smelting facilities on site. After more than a century of intensive mining, the open pit now measures 2.7 miles or 4.3 kilometers long and more than 3,000 feet or 900 meters deep. And despite this, it's still one of the largest known copper deposits. Current production sees at least 500,000 tonnes of copper extracted per year. With the facilities already in place to increase this by 50%, it will remain an important part of the Chilean mining industry for decades to come.
Number 2.
The simply enormous Grossberg Mine is located in the North Rhine-Westphalia state of Germany and is one of the largest brown coal production facilities on the planet. The surface mine sits on a rich vein of lignite, which is the least valuable type of coal that's formed from naturally compressed peat, but the sheer volume that can be extracted makes Grossberg an extremely profitable site. Incredibly, the mine currently has a size of 18.5 square miles or 48 square kilometres, and uses giant bucket wheel excavators to continuously cut through the ground. Some of these machines can move as much as 230,000 tonnes of soil per day. This means that the mine is expanding at an extraordinary rate. In the 1980s, for example, at least 12 towns and 30,000 people had to be relocated to allow the mine to continue operating, and even its name comes from the town that used to stand on the site but is now long gone. In theory, Grossberg could continue extracting coal for many decades to come, but other pressures may bring things to a close much sooner. Germany has announced plans to stop using coal power stations by the mid-2030s, and if this happens, there will be very little need for mines like this anymore.
Number 1.
The Bingham Canyon Mine, which you may also know as the Kennecott Copper Mine, is a huge site that's on a porphyry copper deposit in the mountains to the southwest of Salt Lake City and Utah. It easily holds the record for being the largest man-made hole on the planet, as well as being the deepest open pit mine, and it has produced the most copper of any mine in history, with an estimated yield of around 19 million tonnes. Operations first began at the mine in 1906, and the pit now measures more than 3/4 of a mile or 1.2 kilometres deep, 2.5 miles or 4 kilometres wide, and in total covers an area of 3 square miles or 7.7 square kilometres. This is so large that it's visible to the naked eye from orbiting spacecraft that has undoubtedly changed the landscape forever. Each year, Bingham Mine produces 300,000 tonnes of copper, 13.7 tonnes of gold, and 137 tonnes of silver, and almost 9,100 tonnes of molybdenum, with a value of around $2 billion per year depending on fluctuating prices. Unsurprisingly, it takes a highly organised operation to make this possible. So the 2,000 workers use huge electric shovels to remove 450,000 tonnes of material per day, which are transported by a fleet of 64 large dump trucks and more than 5 miles or 8 kilometres of conveyors. Even though so much has already been removed here, there's no sign that the mine, which was declared a National Historical Landmark in 1966, is anywhere near to running dry. An investment is currently underway to expand it further over the next decade.
Check out one of our other amazing videos.